Hi, I'm Aiden Livingston from Call to Action, and this is Donna Wilkins from Charity Dynamics. Tell me about Charity Dynamics. When did you start it?
Really, there was a combination of things. I saw that there was so much momentum happening in the nonprofits adopting technology for communication with their constituents, whether it be volunteers, donors, grassroots advocates, and there was a real need for services to help people put those in, minimize the risk, learn from other organizations, and that's really where the idea started from back at the end of 2004. Well, there's the interesting thing now that we have, and actually it's always been there, but it's ways to allow constituents to amplify their voice on behalf of an organization. And for so many organizations, that's what they're doing. They're encouraging their advocates, their donors, people who benefit from their services or volunteer to influence others. So Boundless Voices is all about making it as easy as possible for people to share their opinions, encourage other people to participate in nonprofits. Specifically, it does it through social media, through mobile devices, and enabling ways for people to tell as many people as possible about the work of an organization and encourage their friends to be able to participate as well.
It's interesting. So one of the questions I know a lot of organizations have is, how do you communicate across different platforms, like email, social media? Is there different disciplines for each one of those? And if so, what?
Yes, there certainly are. I think, the interesting part that we're really coming to right now, over the past years in particular, we've got where people are focused on email, people are focused on web. Now we're hearing more social media and the various networks that there are on mobile. And I think the trick really is to step back and think, how are all those integrated together and which ones do you use for what type of communication? So as an example, if I wanted to share with you a compelling story and that had detail, a video would be a great way to get that passion across. If I'm looking at a policy piece, video is probably not the best way to get all that
what was that old
detail.
The Schoolhouse Rock?
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. That might be a compelling.
Yeah. Well, okay, that would, but if we get to the detail, so really thinking about, okay, which one of these mediums is the best way to share the type of information and what you want people to do with it and what you want to take away, and then thinking about the constituents. So you and I right now, we're not reading email, we're probably quickly scanning through anything between breaks, but a short text message probably is going to get my attention and is going to alert me to something that I need to do now today. So thinking about each of these different, what are the scenarios that the people who you're trying to influence are going through, and what devices, and what's the easiest way for them to absorb information.
Or what is the most important platform currently, and what do you think it's growing into?
Most important one, actually I will say, as much as we focus on technology and it's revolutionized the way that nonprofits communicate, we're actually coming to a point that face-to-face, in person, or being able to have that true voice in a video or other ways has the most significant impact. And I think at times we've shifted so far to the technology side that we're forgetting about the power of picking up the phone and a phone call. I've received how many emails today, and I received one phone call. I remember the phone call. The emails, yeah, I remember bits and pieces of it. The same thing even with a handwritten note. When we take the time to do that, it's something that gets people's attention versus the others. And I think it goes back to, it's really making sure that we don't lose the value of those other channels with the excitement of the new shiny objects like Pinterest and other things. So look at what's the unique value of each of those communication channels and how can we leverage them the most.
What if your handwriting's really bad like mine? I feel I'd be doing more harm than good.
Well,
really.
see, it makes it even more authentic.
Yeah, I know, right? Is he using child labor? What?
Yeah. Or, a signature, or, maybe the phone call is better for you on each of those pieces. Now, it doesn't mean that you abandon these other technology ones, but where do you want to get that extra lift? So maybe it means that you send an email and, your top donors, you're also going to do a phone call too. So you're going to send thousands of people an email, you're going to expose to tens of thousands of people on social media, but you've got your short list of 20 people who you're going to call and say, I just put this out there, I'm hoping you'll really help me with this.
so interesting. I think at the core of that, it's that authenticity and connection.
Right.
Is there any way to bring more of that into the digital realm, or is it really just you have to combine the two elements?
Oh, actually, I think there's tons of opportunity for that. You know, the things that we can do with personalization and segmentation certainly add to it. Using first-person voice on it can definitely influence it. And because that personalization and segmentation is so much easier on a digital sense, of things that we can do on a large scale by putting those in place. So, you know, I can send you an email that addresses you by name. I can reference maybe a shared interaction, so I can reference you've donated in the past or you haven't, or you helped as a volunteer, or I know what part of a cause is most important to you, and I can include that in it, and all of a sudden that does so much more than me just doing a standard form email that says, well, you might like to donate, you might like to volunteer, you might be interested in this. Here, I know, you know, thank you for helping us with a cleanup volunteer project last month. So it all of a sudden makes it so much closer and more real.
Can you give me an example of some organization that's done a really good job at this?
A couple different ones. Let me think real quickly. Chesapeake Bay Foundation has done, you know, as much as we see people doing things that are high tech and exciting, they did a video project year before last where they did a thank you at the end of the year. And it literally was a video camera, and they went around and each of their departments individually thanked their constituents for what they had done. So they had people who worked on school programs, and they talked about people who had contributed resources. They thanked all the people who had children who went on the field trip. They had their membership director talk about how much, you know, the value that they got from having all the members. They had grassroots advocacy talking about that. So it was really genuine in that it came from those people's voice, and they each brought their own nuance of, not only have you helped the whole organization, but here's how you've helped me personally for something that I have such passion about making a difference.